Good day, everybody. I hope that you're well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 7 English lesson on authors, purpose, and tone. And this is a continuation of our previous lesson. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English language arts. We're doing grade 7. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of author's purpose and tone. All right. So when it comes to, let's see. All right. So our chapter is author's purpose and tone. Our subject is English language arts, grade 7. And in the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of author's purpose and tone, we're first going to start by saying which sentence is more formal, and then we're going to identify appeals to ethos, pathos, and logos in advertisements. All right? That is going to be our lessons for today under our chapter of authors, purpose, and tones. And when it comes to, for example, the author's purpose and tone, and by saying which is more formal, right? Then Advertisements, or let's say the purpose of advertisements. So, advertisements, or the purpose of advertisements, or of an advertisement, it is to persuade people to do something. That is why you will find a lot of advertisements from different companies, from different, whether it is from different newspaper articles, from shops, stores, literally anything that they advertise, that you, products that they sell, services that they sell, right? It is such a competitive market that they need to persuade people. You'll have the same, for example, toothpaste on the market, but with different brands, and they'll advertise it in a manner to make it seem as if their brand is way better, right? Even though it is the same toothpaste that will do, or let's say it's toothpaste that will do the same job, right? But because of the different brands, they would want to persuade you to rather buy the Colgate brand, for example, instead of buying the Aquafresh brand, right? So the purpose of advertisement is to persuade people to do something. And of course, to do something is either to buy the product or to make use of these services, right? Because remember, certain places, they, for example, they offer a service, and of course, other places, they basically sell the products, right? And in order to accomplish this specific purposes, right, then advertisements, they use three types of persuasive strategies or appeals. And that three different strategies or appeals, right, that is what they call the ethos, pathos, and logos type of logos type of persuasions, right? To persuade people to buying the product or to making use of the services. And have you noticed how companies nowadays make use of the persuasive tactics by when you watch YouTube, when you are even playing a specific game online, even when you're watching television, and then after every like few minutes they would, for example, play different ads, right? So they take that time to also, um it's almost like they know the market. So okay, this is the type of people that is going to be playing this specific games. So now they, for example, you'll find the ads popping up every time while you're either playing a game, while you're watching TV, while you're on YouTube, while you sometimes even on TikTok, they also have like a lot of ads. Because now that is their way of getting their product to be, visual, or not visual, but for the product to be seen, or for the service to be seen, right? That is also why they're using influencers nowadays to advertise their products, because they know, okay, this is the amount of people that follow these influencers. Let us rather use them as a way of persuading people to, for example, buy our product or to make use of our services. All right. So we said that in order for them to accomplish, right, their purpose of persuading people to do something, advertisements, they use three types of persuasive strategies or appeals, right? And appeals to ethos, right? So that is one of it. Appeals to ethos or character. It shows that the writer or the speaker is trustworthy or is and authority on a subject, which means that an ad that appeals to ethos, right, might do one of the following. So, advertisements who appeals to ethos, right, they might do one of the following. They will say that their brand has been trusted for many years. Because remember, a lot of people prefer being with brands that a lot of people are with, something that somebody has been consistently been using, right? And the fact that they have been trusted for many years. Let's say, for example, we make an example of toothpaste, right? Let's say the Colgate brand, right? That is the more well-known brand, right? If Since it is the well-known brand, a lot of people tend to use that. So now, since it is a trusted brand, right? A lot of people tend to want to use the Colgate instead of something else because it is a trusted brand for many years. When it also comes to the appeal to ethos, right? They might also note that a brand is recommended by a respected organization or celebrity. And that is what I was saying earlier on about how brands are nowadays using celebrities to also sell their products, right? So now that is the way of also persuading people to want to buy the product. Why? Because this well known celebrity is also using it, right? This well-known celebrity is basically using also the opportunity to advertise it. And that is why you'll see on Instagram and Facebook and all these places, they'll say they are paid partners of Dove or paid partners of this and so on. All right. Then also with ethos, right, they might also include a quote from a real person who shares the audience's values. And that is once again well known people that they know a lot of people follow them, right? Influencers, celebrities, in order to persuade us to buy their products or to make use of their services. All right. The second strategy that they use, right, is appeal to logos. And logos or reasons, they use logic and specific evidence, right? And an ad that appeals to logos might do one of the following. They might use graphs, right, or charts to display information to show that, look here, this is when we started, this is the amount of products that we've sold, this is the amount of people that have bought our products within the last 6 months, 5 months, and so on. So now it's almost like that thing where people can like see, like, okay, so this is a consistent brand of, their products are being sold, for example. They might also mention the results of scientific studies to show that, okay, these are proven, scientifically proven. That is why you will always hear people saying it is scientifically proven, because remember, scientifically proven, people want something, a product that firstly works, a product that is safe, which is just correct. And they might also explain the science behind a product or service. That is the appeals to logos. So logos, they use the logic and reason to specify the evidence Whereas ethos, right, might use, for example, the authority, and they might, for example, say that the writer or the speaker is trustworthy, and they might use things within that manner. And then the appeals to pathos, right, or emotions. They use feelings rather than facts to persuade the audience. So they use feelings other than facts to persuade the audience, so to persuade us as the buyers, to persuade us as the users of service. And an ad that appeals to pathos might do the following. They might trigger a fear, such as fear of embarrassment, and also they might appeal to a desire, such as the desire to appear attractive. And that is usually where the makeup products and stuff comes in, beauty products comes in. To avoid embarrassment, or to avoid, for example, they'll show somebody with dark pigmentation, a breakout in their face, and they'll show like how you hide it because they want to bring about the beauty, right? That is how all these type of products are being used, for example. But for example, they have their different ways of persuasive strategies. The ethos that is more trustworthy, the logos which is more specific and evidence, they show you logic and reasoning, they show graphs, and then they have the pathos which mainly runs on our emotions. To avoid embarrassment, you need to look good, right? All right, so now we're going to aplusstudents.ca, and we're going on to our lessons where we are going to say which sentence is more formal, and we're going to identify appeals to ethos, pathos, and logos in an advertisement. And we need to, for example, keep in mind that the purpose of an advertisement, it is to persuade people to do something. And of course, in order for us to do something, it is either to buy a product or to make use of a specific service, right? All right, so now we're going to a plus students.ca, and we're going to say which sentence is more formal. All right, so formal writing, we said, is used for essays, business letters, and reports, right? And this types of informal language should be avoided in formal writing. So when it comes to formal writing, right, then there's certain things that you need to, or we need to avoid, right? For example, slang. Slang is the type of, you know, writing or conversation or tone that you can use when you either speaking to your friend, when it is when a letter is either, or an essay is more friendly and more casual. Then you may use slang like cool and awesome. Idioms, right? Idioms can also be used with informal writing, because now idioms we can use to basically, we can say, to spice up the conversation, right? For example, knock your socks off. We don't use idioms with informal writing. Conversational language, gonna, kinda, yeah. That is the type of conversation you have with your friends. I'm gonna go to the mall. I kinda am not in the mood. Yeah, maybe we can go to the beach. Those are conversational language that you have between you and your friend. Abbreviated language, instead of saying as soon as possible, you say ASAP. Instead of saying for your information, you say FYI. We don't use abbreviated language when it comes to formal writing. Overly simple or imprecise language. He got more stuff. He got some stuff at the store. Rather use words like he got products, he got items from the store. And then contractions. Contractions are words like can't, won't, can not, no, can't, won't, it's, I'm, right? So when it comes to the word can't, right, we can write the word proper by saying cannot, will not, and so on. So when it comes to formal writing, you need to be careful for the types of conversations that you have, or the type of tone that you have, or the type of writing that you have. For formal writing, essays, business letters, reports, or even articles, right? You don't use slang, idioms, conversational language, abbreviated language, and just contractions, right? You need to keep it simple, you need to keep it formal, right? So there's a difference between formal writing and informal writing. Formal writing, we keep it simple and formal, whereas with informal writing, you may use these type of languages or tones. Contractions are not as informal as other types, but they should be used sparingly in formal writing. All right. We see that contractions are not as formal as other types, but they should use or should be used sparingly in formal writings, right? For example, if we compare the following sentences, the first one is formal and the second one is first one is informal and the second one is formal. It says informal, yeah, ostriches can't fly, but they are awesome runners. Whereas the formal tone or conversation about that is like saying, though ostriches are flightless, meaning they cannot fly, they are remarkably adept runners. All right. And now we need to say whether a sentence is formal or informal. All right. All right. So now we're going to our test. We're not going to say which sentence is more formal, right? We're going to look at the different sentences and we're going to say which one is more formal. Is it option one that says the famous French photographer Henri Cartier Bresson was known for his photographs of ordinary daily life? Or option two, the famous French photographer Henri Cartier Bresson took pictures of a bunch of random people doing everyday things. We need to say which sentence is more formal. All right, so we need to choose the correct option that shows which sentence is more formal. If we look at the wording of the sentences, it will kind of tell us what or which sentence is more formal. The famous French photographer Henri Cartier Bresson was known for his photographs of a ordinary daily life. Or do we say the famous French photographer Henri Cartier Bresson took pictures of a bunch of random people doing everyday things? And if we were to choose the correct option, something or the sentence that is more formal is the first option. The next one says, which sentence is more formal? Option one says, it takes guts to stand up for people who are being bullied. Or do we say option two, it takes courage to stand up for people who are being bullied? And if we were to choose the sentence that is more formal, and if we were to choose the correct option, we will choose option two. Sometimes you just need to look at one or two of the words within the sentences and it will tell you which one is more formal. It's the same like the previous one now, where it takes guts, it takes courage. You, in a formal tone, we would use words like it will take courage instead of just saying it will take guts, for example. So the tone or the wording that is being used is more formal. The next one says most of the apartments in New York City's Upper West Side cost an arm and a leg. Or option two, most of the apartments in City's Upper West Side are extremely expensive. And if we were to choose the correct option, we will go with option two that says most of the apartments in New York City's Upper West Side are extremely expensive. And the reason why we're going with option two is because here where it says that most of the Upper West Side costs an arm and a leg. Remember, we don't want sayings, we don't want idioms, we don't want all those type of things. We just want formal conversation, formal tone. All right. It says Vatican City, the world's smallest country, isn't a member of the United Nations, or do we say Vatican City, the world's smallest country, is not a member of the United Nations? Which one is correct? That shows more of a formal tone, a formal kind of writing. Option one or option two is more formal. All right. We need to say which one is more formal. It says, didn't we choose this one? Oh, we didn't. All right, so we will choose the second one. The reason why we are choosing the second one is because if you look at that word isn't, remember we said that contractions are not part of the formal language. We need to just break up that word and make it into two words depending. So instead of saying isn't, we say is not a member of the United Nations. All right. All right. So that is how we can identify formal writing. Remember, we need to avoid using contractions, slang words, um, words that are more informal tones, right? We need to use more of a formal tone depending on who or what you're talking about. Now we're going to identify appeals to ethos, pathos, and logos within advertisements. All right. Yeah, it says, which is the three persuasive appeal used in this advertisement? The three main persuasive appeal that is used within this advertisement. So yeah, we have a three-in-one power. It lifts the food stains, dissolve grease and oil, and rinses away the dirt. And before we even go to that one, remember we said that the purpose of an advertisement is to persuade people to do something, right? And in order for them to accomplish this purpose, advertisements, they use the three types of persuasive strategies, and that is the ethos, they use the logos, and they use the pathos. All right. And when it comes to our different types of persuasive tactics, right? We see that these three different um, ways of advertisements, when they use the three different strategies, right? All right. And remember, we said that the writers, they use different types of strategies. They use the ethos, they use the logos and pathos, right? In order as a persuasive tactics. And we said ethos is more of a, they go based on this is trustworthy, right? Everybody uses this. It is trusted for many years. They go based on that. Then we have the logos, right? Which is more scientifically proven. They give you numbers, they give you graphs. And then we have the pathos, right? That goes more on our emotions and our feelings. All right. And like we said, these are the three different types of persuasive strategies or appeals, right? When it comes to persuasion. All right. So now we're going to our test. We're now going to look at the specific product and we're going to say which is the main persuasive appeal used in this ad. It says, Earthsea paper plates now carry the Sierra Club seal of approval. Is that ethos they go mainly on character or logos they go more on reasoning? And if we were to choose the correct persuasive appeal or writing or which one, it says Earthsea paper plates now carry the Sierra Club seal of approval. And if we were to choose the correct appeal that is used within this ad, we'll go mainly based on the ethos. They go mainly on people's characters. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson on author's purpose and tone. We are going to continue with this lesson next time because we did not finish everything. But so far, author's purpose and tone, authors they use different persuasive tactics in order for us to buy their products, make use of their services. And then they use the three different forms of persuasive appeals, which is called the ethos, pathos, as well as the logos forms of advertisement. All right, so this is the end of our lesson. Thank you very much, grade sevens, for joining the class. I really hope that you do have a way with understanding of how writers they, for example, use persuasive tactics in order for us to buy products to make use of these services, right? All right, so you should have a good day further. So till next time, goodbye.